Once again, people, welcome back to the Reggae Boys Weekly. Once again, another edition of the Reggae Boys Weekly. Once again, in the hot seat is the Kanye, the man himself from the Gunners YouTube channel. What's up? How is everything on your side?
Good one enough. Ready to talk some pressing issues.
Definitely. You really pressed my team today. Got away with 3 points. As Ty would say, the refs were a cheat. Didn't give Ahmad Diallo the penalty that he deserved. But such is life. It's known that referees do cheat United out of the game. So I want to hear what Ty has to say in regards to that. But people, listen up. Today we're going to talk about some big controversial issues, some pressing issues surrounding football in Jamaica. If you are just joining the live stream, once again, smash the like button, hit the red subscribe button, and leave your thoughts below in the comment section. I think we have somebody in the comment section already. Let me see who it is. I had a feeling it was Chorus Carnif. Chorus Carnif, big up yourself. Thanks for the continuous support. Up. But you don't know, say, bless up yourself. Introduction or intro before we get into these topics. So let's kick off things.
It's time to rise up. Stand and take your place. Rise up.
Shine like the sun.
Rise up.
Your journey has just begun. Rise up.
Don't know, people. Rise up. Once again, if you are new to the channel or just joining, smash the like button. I should say, hit the red subscribe button if you are new, and leave your thoughts in the comment section. And let me take some more comments of the people that were just joined. John Powell, big up yourself. Bless Gunners, myself. Bless up Gunners. RR said check. So people, today we're going to talk about the murder capital of the world, Jamaica land we love. Not many of you guys like to hear it, but Jamaica, if you look at the statistics, it is the murder capital of the world. But we're not going to talk about crime in itself or murders in itself, just like that in an isolated way. We're going to talk about football and crime, because football and crime, it kind of goes hand in hand. Football can help out crime. And, we're going to talk about that because we've done enough research, or, well, not me. Well, I've done research to an extent, right? But I know universities over the globe and independent researchers, they've done enough research to show that football, it has helped in mending crime or decreasing crime to a certain extent, especially in communities that are like inner cities, basically, in Brazil, El Salvador, in the favelas in South American countries. We've seen where football has been used as a medium to quell crime to a certain extent. So we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about Olivia Babsy-Grange, the sports minister. Well, she's the minister of information, gender, youth, entertainment, as well as sports. Should women lead sports in Jamaica? Should women take up more leadership roles in sports in Jamaica, or should they not take up these leadership roles? Have they failed in terms of the development of sports in Jamaica, especially football that we love on a week-to-week basis, on a day-to-day basis? Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, we eat, sleep, and breathe football, basically, right? Have Babsy-Grange done enough? Has she done enough, I should say, in her position as a sports minister over the years in terms of the development of football, especially on the level of infrastructure, right? We're also going to talk about Michael Ricketts, because he basically wrote to FIFA, and we're here to talk about that today. Michael Ricketts wrote to FIFA asking them for funding for a special program that he wants to implement and put in place surrounding youths in Jamaica. So we're going to talk about all those good stuff today. But the first question is, and it's a loaded question, should women lead sports in Jamaica? What do you think?
It's a very controversial topic, bro. We know it's a in certain ways. It just depends, fam, because there are a lot of women out there that are equipped. For me, it's not a matter of the gender. It's a matter of their background, what they know, their knowledge. Babsy has been in it for a very long time. I don't know her personally. I don't know. I haven't really followed or tracked her progress and tracked every single thing that she's done. So I don't want to bash her and I don't want to praise her. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, just generally speaking, like, yeah, bro. It's not a matter of the gender, to be honest. It's just, is this person equipped to do the job? Is this person educated to do the job? Does this person love what they are doing? Because sports, you can talk about the different ministries, right? But sports it's not only about finances. It's not only about, sports can literally bring people together. Sports, you want to be doing that for love, bro. You know what I mean? So, yeah, fam.
But in regards to your answer to that question, right? Is it a case? Do you think they should have some form of sporting background whenever they take up leadership positions to understand the sport a bit better, especially football in itself?
Um,
There has to be some
what
level
do
of
you mean by
understanding.
sporting? What do you mean by sporting background? Like if they played sports, if they studied sports.
Yeah, to a certain extent, whether you studied it or you played it at a professional level or high
Yeah,
enough level or semi-professional level.
yeah,
Because
bro.
for me,
Mm.
go ahead.
Yeah, man, I said like anything that you're doing, bro. Not because you're in politics, that doesn't mean that you shouldn't be qualified for what you're doing, right? In any and at the end of the day as well, we have to remember, and this is the reason why I brought up this comment by Richard Green. Big up. I think we need a minister just for sports, and we have to remember, sports is not the only thing that she is responsible for in ministry, right? So there's sports, there's gender, there's culture, there's entertainment as well, right? All of those can be merged into one, and you can go to one venue where you're seeing all of those merge into one. But then you have their separate niches by themselves, and
Mhm.
all of them as separate niches require different standards and levels of education. It's very hard for you to find one person that is equipped fully and fully educated to represent in all of those roles, right? Now, with that said, that is where I have to agree with Richard's green point. I believe that sports is so general, so broad, and has such a huge impact that it would be a good idea to have it as a ministry by itself.
I mean, it could come down to I agree with that comment and I understand to a certain level, but I also think that when we're talking about sport or sports, we're talking about football in general because football is what we love. Now, in terms of your answer to Richard Green or whatever the case is, right? When you talk about Olivia Babsy Grange over the years, I know that somebody mentioned in the comment section that Portia Simpson Miller, she was the sports minister at one point in time. She led us to the 1998 World Cup. I wouldn't say that she led us to it, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't think she bared the responsibility surrounding leading us to the 1998 World Cup. I mean, should have done her part in probably funding the team. But I think many people had a bit more responsibility in getting that team to 1998 in France, right? Now, in terms of Olivia Babsy Grange and her role as a sports minister, I know that she's the minister of information, the minister of entertainment, but the responsibility still lays on Babsy Grange as the minister of sports. You talk about Natalie Nita Headley for the People's National Party. She was also a minister of sports a couple of years ago when PNP was in power. And for me, in terms of my assessment surrounding both parties, these women in and by the way, sorry, Happy Mother's Day. How did I not say that at the beginning of the show? Happy Mother's Day to all the mothers out there. But yeah, in terms of my assessment surrounding these women, I do not think they've done a well enough job in terms of sports in general and football, if I'm supposed to be direct. You know what I'm saying? If you talk about football and the development of football across Jamaica, especially in terms of infrastructure, they've not done a good job in terms of funding programs to help in terms of developing infrastructure. From I was ever born, the only thing I heard about Jamaica or football or sports in general is that we lack in infrastructure. And what has Babsy Grange done on her part to help with the infrastructure, whether it's at the National Stadium, whether it's helping JPL clubs, whether it's helping building proper pitches across the island? She has to find a way to get funding for these programs. I don't even remember a couple years ago where Sabina Park didn't even have a floodlight. Cricket couldn't be played in the night. We had to get I think it was India or China, I believe, donated or gave us those floodlights that we have now that allow us to play matches at Sabina Park in the night. And if it wasn't for them, I don't think Babsy Grange or whoever the respective minister of sports is would get that done. You get what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So in my assessment, I do not think they've done a well enough job in terms of developing sports in Jamaica as well as football to be direct and infrastructure, whether it's at the level of football, whether it's at the level of netball, basketball, badminton, table tennis, you name it. Jamaica, we play so many sports, but yet again, we lack proper infrastructure. And to be honest, to an extent, we do well in these sports. So imagine if we had the infrastructure. Imagine if we had the coaching education behind a lot of these sporting disciplines that Jamaica engages in. But let me take some comment section, or well, not the comment section. Let me take some comments from the people in the comment section. So Richard Green is saying, I know lack of, what did he say?
I
Look
know
at Edward Siaga.
Stadium.
Yeah, look at the Edward Siaga Stadium. You also have the Prison Oval. You have St. Catherine Sports Complex. You look at some of these infrastructures. Nothing is being done towards ramping them up in terms of redeveloping them. You look at the National Stadium. I know that the National Stadium currently and onwards, it's they will be developing that. I know that they've put some money aside set for the National Stadium to redevelop the National Stadium. But yeah, yeah, they're going to redevelop the National Stadium, right? I think they'll also be expanding the capacity of the National Stadium, and they will be giving the National Stadium a facelift. You know, I know that many Jamaicans or many football fans in Jamaica said that we should have a separate stadium in which we play football. You know what I'm saying? Which to a certain degree, I agree with that. But however, we need funding for that in itself. You agree with that part?
Yeah, bro. Me cater for football only still. You're more of a wide sports type of guy. I used to be, but right now I don't have time in my life to follow up every sport. You see me? So I only cater for football right now, and I've been to those stadiums as well. I played in at Oval. I played at Edward Siaga Sports Complex, and ever since my little from when me I playing at Pepsi up to now, it's like there hasn't been any improvement, bro. But at the end of the day, me I look on it, and even recent stuff that we've seen today with Manchester United at Old Trafford, they're at the highest level as it relates to money that's coming in, right? And if they can't like get their stuff together, bro, like what we I expect from Jamaica, that's one thing, that's one way to look at it, because there's not always just a rainy day, like yeah, they need to do this or yeah, they need to do that. You see me? That's another perspective. You can look at the situation at Manchester United right now, and they have revenue coming in left, right, and center.
Yeah, but you know, the current new owner has some plans to redevelop Old Trafford and put it to a level where it's like Spurs are these Real Madrid and these type of clubs who have basically refurbished their stadiums, whatever the case is, for the lack of a better word. But my question to you, in general, I don't think I have a definite answer, even for myself, to that question. Should women need sports in Jamaica?
50-50.
Huh?
And that's why them call you 50-50, bro.
Well, yeah, but the way how I see it, right? I see it as, if you have the expertise in the field, then you should lead that department. However, for me, Babsy Green, she has been in politics since 1985, somewhere around that line. She's 78 now. She has been in the business for such a long period of time. JLP, they've been involved for some time now, over the years since I've been born. Bruce Golden, Andrew Holness, and then Andrew Holness once again through 2000 up to now. I think JLP has probably won more general elections compared to the People's National Party, if memory serves me right. But both parties, they've had their shot at politics in terms of who has power. And when you look at sports, yes, it's wide, but we're looking at football in itself, right? There's no development in football, bro. There's no development. If it's not for Craig Butler or Rudolph Speed or persons who, have academies in the country, then we do not see where youngsters are being developed to better themselves in terms of being a professional footballer. You know what I'm saying? And I think whoever is responsible for sports or that department, which is Olivia Babsy Grinch, I think a bit more could be done. But there's one thing. There is an independent body called the SDF, the Sports Development Foundation, who they're responsible to an extent in terms of development of sports in Jamaica. And for those of you, let me just bring it up on screen right now. For those of you who don't know what the SDF is, and some of you, I would expect that you guys would know what SDF is. It's the Sports Development Foundation. It was commenced in 1995, and it was established as an independent body to contribute to development of our nation through sports. So I think that's a good, what would you say, definition of what the SDF is. And we've seen over the years where the SDF, they have funded programs in communities for sporting competitions, and it does well in communities. I remember that I think the SDF, they're responsible for the cricket tournament they have on a year-to-year basis, as well as other tournaments that they have across the island as well, which I think having an independent body which is responsible for the development of sports in Jamaica or of the nation, I think that's a good thing within itself. Now, the budget that the government normally outlines for sports in general, right? And obviously this budget would be broken up in many different parts, and it would have went to different sporting bodies. So overall, the budget is 696 million. This figure was last reported in 2022. Before that, it was 400 and something million. And this budget was just to cover sports in general. So if you think about football, right? I think to an extent, track and field and the football, but football more so, would have gotten a bit more or a chunk of this money, the 696 million, right? I was looking for a figure in regards to how much would have went to football, but I couldn't find any answer for that. However, what I can tell you, the Olivia Babsy Grange and her ministry, they do pay out 150,000 to JPL clubs each month to help them out. Which, if you look at it in today's market, what can $150,000 do for any JPL club? What do you think?
Well, let me do the maths, bro, and before we talk. 150,000 every month times 12. That's 1.8 mil a year. And how much you say out of the budget? That's for one club, by the way.
Yeah, that's one club.
Budget for sports.
The current budget, or our last reported number, was 696 million back in 2022.
All right, and 12 clubs in a JPL, right? Times 12, so that's 21.6 mil, right? Out of how much?
What, 696 million?
696 million. That's a small percentage, dog. So, but it's a huge chunk.
Yeah.
When you exit that a whole league, forgive to one league, when all of that money is supposed to go towards the entirety of sports. So even though we look at it and we say 150K a month, a baby money if you go towards a club, because one player a Mount Pleasant, I call it that. You see me? So it depends on what they might use it for. What is it going towards? If you think about it like player wages, and obviously that can't help out with nothing. But if you think about it like other stuff, I don't know, a monkey money, but that just goes to show if we break, 14 clubs, Richard. So if we break it down like that, bro, and that's just one league, we're not talking about money where they might give towards youth leagues, Manning Cup, Doncaster Cup. You're not talking about other football stuff like Tier 1, Tier 2. You're not thinking about none of them things, bro. You see me? And that's just football alone.
Yeah.
So, bro, if that's the amount of money, then that's a very little amount. But at the end of the day, that the country give for work with. So it have to squeeze, and it have to squeeze equally. So is it a case that, two questions for me, is it a case that money is not being allocated sufficiently? Or is it a case that they might do the best that they can?
I do not think they're doing the best that they can. I think the budget can be a bit, close to $1 billion. I think sports in general, as well as football in Jamaica, it's one of the most underlooked things. Track and field as well, but more so football, especially in terms of the infrastructure, because I think, we have so many talented players in Jamaica that we can, develop to send out of the country to even go and do better things. I don't think the JPL should be the end of the road for a lot of these players, are Manning Cup as well. But if the infrastructure isn't there and the sporting education surrounding football, whether it's learning the game, not only the game that's been played on the pitch, but what if somebody doesn't make it as a professional footballer? Are there programs in place to become a referee, a physiotherapist, whatever the case is? I know that the Jamaica Football Federation, I think they have a referee program or something like that. But I do think
I'm part of that group, by the way.
Nice. So I think more can be done in terms of the development of football in Jamaica. Now, let me just bring up something on screen pertaining to the SDF, right? Because some of that budget, the 696 million that was reported back in 2022, it does go to the SDF, right? And I just want to give a breakdown of what the SDF does. So what it does basically, it says spending throughout each quarter would concern the development and rehabilitation of infrastructure across the island, grants to national sporting associations, tickets for sporting events, grants to government agencies, special projects, summer camps, zones of special operations, interventions. I think that would be Zozo. Yeah. So Zozo funds would go to the Zozo Professional Football Jamaica Limited, PFJL. That's the Jamaica Premier League, as we know it as. Athletes welfare. I guess if you meet an accident, whatever the cases are, you need to be taken care of. Health concerns. Yeah. Athletes welfare and special allocations, which would assist other organizations in funding sport related activities. Now, with that being said, right, if we look at this, you know that when Zozos are being held across the island, it's more to help in decreasing crime in violent areas. So, you know, putting on football competitions, whatever the case is, that would take money. So whatever money goes to the um Sports Development Foundation, SDF, they would take that money and fund any activities going on in these areas that have special zones of operations, basically, right? And these competitions, whether it's a local corner league thing or whatever the case is, it does take money to put on, you know, because you have to have prize money, you have to buy bib and all this type of stuff for the players that's going to play in these competitions. You probably have to go pay for use a local field. Depends on the community, right? So that's what the FDS SDF actually does. So, you know, say $21 million go to the JPL clubs on a year-to-year basis, right? Then the SDF, they have to get money as well, and then they have to allocate that money to other stuff as well in relation to sports, and then, you know, football would fall under that. But we don't have a real breakdown of how much money the SDF would give to football programs in Jamaica, but they have money. Huh?
Yeah, when you're doing more mention something as well.
Yes, so we don't have the figure in regards to how much money would go to football from the SDF, you know. But go on now.
Yeah, bro. So no, this is literally what you want to talk about. And Richard Green, for the second time in this show, yeah, bring up something what you want to talk about. So if it's a case where you will literally have a limited budget, then sometimes there's a saying that goes, you have to risk it for the biscuit. What is the top way of earning money or building on your money in 2024? Investing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to market. And as far as I see it, look at JFF the other day. JFF is a single body, but even they realize that their marketing strategies are poor and that they can get better. And they tried marketing and they joined forces with 876 Stream to try and improve that. Right? And the same can be said across all sports, bro. Like, a lot of times, some sporting events are keeping and people are saying, well, this is what they say. They don't even know say it keep. You see me? The players that we have, there's so much talent. You see me? There's so much. We're unique as a nation in that. Like Jamaica is not worldwide and we're just at that on the map. You see me? Everyone wants to be Jamaican outside of Jamaica. You see me? So there are opportunities there, and there's clear talent here as well for us to use that, you see me, bro, and market better and invest in marketing, you see me, bro, and then you can use what the money we make from that and go bring that into infrastructure. If money not there, then you have to find ways to make money, bro. You see me? It's just as simple as that.
I mean that's true, but the thing is, you know, a lot of these JPL clubs, do they generate enough revenue to even hire a marketing team? That's the question that we have to ask.
And that's the body. This is not just the club itself; it's the entire body. Because right now JPL is a semi-professional league. It's not a professional league. You see me? So who is the head of JPL's body? Right? Who is the head of that body? Head of that body. If the country's football is to really grow and improve and stuff like that. First of all, the football have to change. So there are so many ways and different angles you have to look at. The football has to improve. Because nobody now investing and nothing way, not appealing. You see me? And
How do you make something appealing without the product getting investment, you know?
Mm-hmm. So
that's like saying somebody must go to school was smart, but they don't have the money. So are you going to help them or what?
Yes, and that man said like I don't know what them are gonna do, bro. Like there has to be something. Funding have to come from somewhere. And it's all about selling, bro. You see me? I don't really want to tell my occupation or what I do, bro, but it's like, bro, sales is everything in this world or in this life can be sold. You see me? It's just a matter of are you a good enough salesman to do it? That's it. You see me? I even more make it as plain as possible, bro. You can have a pile of shit right here, so, and a good salesman can make that valuable. May I tell you that, dog? He can make that valuable to someone. So is it that there's not enough effort being placed into doing it? Is it that there are not enough innovative minds there? Are there too many dinosaurs in this? You see me? Are the people that are leading and at the forefront right now, do they have the energy? Do they even care to really dig deeper and really spend time to analyze, be creative, be innovative, and find ways to get shit done, bro. You see me? So that's another thing you can look on as well.
Yeah. I mean, good point, good point. But listen, let's transition to something else, right? And we need to talk about football and crime in Jamaica. Now, America and a lot of these people consider Jamaica as the murder capital of the world, right? Many Jamaicans would disagree. In my opinion, I'm a Jamaican. The statistics show that Jamaica is a real murderous country, especially per capita, like 50 something per 100,000 or 69 some years each year to an extent. We've seen where the murder rate in Jamaica can be between 1,300 to 1,600 each year, right? Now, I was doing some research and I was looking at countries like El Salvador, Brazil, Argentina, Chile, Peru, and a lot of these countries, and they've used football as a tool in decreasing crime, at least on a short-term basis. It's not something that's sustainable on a long-term basis. I don't think football in itself should be used in decreasing crime. However, sometimes when you have a high crime rate, you have to be innovative in terms of the tools that you use to help decrease crime. And crime and murders to an extent, because murder, it would fall under crime, and murders to an extent, murders would happen more in inner city communities. And we all know the inner city communities in Jamaica that face problems with having high murder rates, right? And we've seen where the government and different organizations, they've invested in special programs surrounding football to drive in these communities to put on programs on a year-to-year basis to help in decreasing crime, which would be murders to an extent, because out of crime, I think murders is it's the highest thing in Jamaica in regards to crime, more than robberies or rape or sexual assault or breaking in, whatever the case is, right? Now, Michael Ricketts, a couple years ago, he wrote to FIFA. Let me just bring it up on screen, right? He wrote to FIFA asking them for some money in terms of funding special programs to help the youths in Jamaica surrounding football, right? In based on what I was reading, I don't know if he got the money from FIFA, but the headline was JFF boss says football possesses power to steer youth from crime, and that's what Michael Ricketts had to say back in 2022. So Michael Ricketts went on to say that, it said that President Michael Ricketts says the Jamaica Football Federation, JFF, recognizes that it has a role to play in ensuring Jamaican youth stay away from crime. Ricketts went on to say, Ricketts says that football is a vehicle for social change and that the JFF can and will do more to try to effect change among youngsters. I'm going to quote him here, and I quote, "We do not just want to be the football bosses, so to speak, but we must also have a social impact in our youngsters." Ricketts told Jamaica Observer, I have had some discussions with the General Secretary, Dennis Chung, and we intend to write to FIFA to ask if there is any kind of funding, any kind of support where we get into the inner cities and try our best to socially impact the youngsters. We must, as a football organization, try to positively impact our youngsters. Ricketts says the project will come into effect in January. So if this was in 2022, let me see when this article was written, back in November. So that project would have come into effect in January of 2023. I am not too sure if Ricketts got the funding for that program or whatever the cases are, even FIFA has any program. I mean, he did state that the program would have come into effect in January. So I guess everything was sorted and they just needed some money to get it off the ground. Now, Ricketts went on to say that we will be on a drive with talent identification. He said, we want to improve our grassroots program and our whole development program. We want to ensure that we entice and attract youngsters. We want to be absolutely clear what our path and what our programs will be in the near future. Ricketts says such a venture can ultimately lead to social change, especially as it regards greater economic impact through remittances. This means local players earning contracts with overseas clubs would be able to not only earn attractive incomes, but be able to financially support their relatives and communities back in Jamaica. Ricketts also thinks past national players have a role to play. Former reggae boy Ricardo Fuller, now back at his former club Stoke City in England, earning his coaching badges, told the Observer recently that he loves mentoring young players and is eager to work with the JFF in the future and the interest of further serving, has worked with the JFF. I think he's a part of the coaching staff, right? And he went away with the team to Nations League. Now, Ricketts said one thing in this article, or what he said basically, which is important. He mentioned the word programs, right? And I want people to know it's not only about playing football on the pitch. You know what I'm saying, Decanio? It's also about the coaching education. If a player leaves high school, right, and he doesn't want to become a professional footballer because say it's time consuming or whatever the case is, there should be programs set in place where he can probably become a coach, a scout, or something in that sense. Would you agree?
It depends on the person, bro.
Mhm.
Majority, I'm just being realistic here. Majority of the youth them will have, you see me, where I play ball, and if them don't have the chance to go professionally, enough of them know want to be a coach.
Mm.
A lot of them know want to go in a scouting. Them love is just the ball at their feet. You see me? Them love for football not as deep as, or some of them don't have the intellectual mindset to really take on coaching. You see me, bro? So some of them them have the self belief. Some of them don't have the ability itself to do it. And some of them, even if they do have the ability, them just can't bother because of football them they really want to play. So if them can't play football, they might look other ways to make money, bro. You see me?
But
So it's just all about education and educating people. You see me? In order for them to think that there's a career there for them, they have to be educated on it. And before me even make your response, bro, like in Jamaica, bro, a lot of people left high school and this is not even about sports, bro. A lot of people left high school and them don't know how to file taxes, them don't know how to register a business, them don't know where there are so many things that Jamaica is lapsing in to just educate the youths before them left out of high school so that them can really adequately prepare themselves and adequately know what is the best route they can take based on their skills, based on their love, based off what they think drives them. Yes, remember a lot of reasons why the young youth them in a high school don't know what to do when they left high school or them not have no ideas because they not have a purpose. Them not find a purpose because they aren't educated on certain things, bro. You see me? So if you're not educated on something, it's hard for you to find a purpose on what you really want to do. You see me, dog? So it's all about, I know this is not about the topic, but it's true, bro. A lot of the youth them will have left. If you're not going to want top high school like me, when you go Hardy, right? And Hardy never have no bag of top baller. It's mean the top baller them come from, apart from, say top baller them really come from KC, JC, and them big side.
yeah, them come from country.
Them come from other teams within a inner city where them the baller them mind them really that smart in the head, but them have the talent to them foot. You see me, bro? Now if you're not that, if you remember say KC, JC, Georges, them can't buy everybody. But that means say talent that they out there otherwise from people them them buy. You see me, bro? So they want me to them youth there, bro, they're in a inner city and them go school and them really have it up here. Where is the teaching and the real education in the school system for really prepare people for life after school? It really in a dead dog. You see me? So if you don't have that and you don't have the basic understanding there of what life is after school, then you're not gonna find a purpose. You're not gonna know. A lot of people find them purpose when they left 3-4 years after. Some of them in the middle of a university course, them say, yo, I don't want to do this, and them end up after it, or them finish it, and then when them finish it, them say, yo, we can't do this first on life. Them finally find out what 4 years out of them life that them spend millions of dollars to find them purpose, and when them spend millions of dollars for now, help them for the rest of them life. You see me, bro? So
But
it's a whole, bro. There are so many angles they can look at it from, bro.
yeah. But Ricketts used a word, right? He used the word entice. And I think it's on these respective leaders in these big leadership positions surrounding, JFF, SDF, and other sporting bodies in Jamaica to entice youngsters to say that, listen, I'm not going to become a professional footballer at the highest level. You know what I'm saying? If you become a semi-professional footballer and play to the age of 25, you get an injury, whatever the case is. Go and pick up coaching education, be involved in the sport as well. Being a coach can pay just as much money, if not more, compared to a player on the pitch. You know what I'm saying? You can become a physio, you can help players to recover from injuries. You know what I'm saying? So I think a lot of Jamaican youths need to come out of the mindset that listen, if me not make it at a professional level, this is the end of the road. You can still be around Manchester United if you, for example, you want to go play for United, right? It doesn't work out. But what if you become one of the best physios in the world that them come take you up from Jamaica and say, you know what, you are the head of the physio department at Manchester United. You might not be playing the game, but you're still involved with the game that you truly love. You're still working at the highest level, which is in Europe, in the Premier League, whether it's La Liga, Bundesliga, Liga, respective leagues. So I think youths in Jamaica that play football have to have an understanding that, okay, it doesn't just stop at me not making it at the professional level. There's so many different aspects surrounding football in general, whether it's coaching, whether it's being on the medical team, whether it's being a technical director. Learn the business surrounding football. Study business in university, sports business management, those different types of programs that they have at universities. Study this type of stuff. Stop wasting time and go study psychology and them foolishness when nobody, brother. Get me? I say the world and Jamaica have too much of them people that are ready. Go study something that can benefit football in Jamaica, that you can go and work at a JPL club as a marketing director or whatever, drive revenue into the club that these clubs can use to invest back into the infrastructure of their clubs if the government now go do them nothing or give them no money. You see me? I say? So I think a lot of these youths, they need guidance, and that's what they lack. They need guidance. But let me add just one comment, because you see, when it comes on to ignorant comments, really like them, and for this person, I go read out the whole comment.
Before
But
you talk, like, when even see it now, when you want
no, it's not this one. Sorry. Hold on. Is this? I have to take a break and look good. The US is the number one country with the highest murder rate by facts. Speaking in the eyes of the creator, every soul counted for, just like the sparrows, my number one percentage. All right,
bro,
then.
at the end of the day, before you go, at the end of the day, bro, just watch the stream from the top. You'd understand like what we really did I say. If you just come and you just jump in and you see the title, go watch the stream from the top before you start coming. You see me? The second thing as well, you have to make it like that, because first of all, every country has a different population. And if you're going to say what is the murder capital of the world, or if you're going to say like which country is the most brutal, then you have to make it based on the numbers. You can't look on it and say, oh, America more people, I kill more people than we're in Jamaica. That don't make no sense, dog. Jamaica is a dot compared to America. So you have to make it based off percentages. And that is not to say that every soul does not count. But at the end of the day, if you do any type of analytics or any stuff like that, the numbers, you have to put numbers into it. You see me?
I don't think many people understand how the breakdown of being the murder capital of the world works. You know what I'm saying? Not many people understand numbers, and I'm not no mathematician, but I have a basic understanding surrounding numbers and how things work and how percentages and these type of stuff work. So, I don't think it's worth a response, to be honest, but all right, I'm gonna give you a comment to highlight already. But yeah, maybe you can educate yourself. But moving forward, right? We could talk about something else. And it's we have the Copa America coming up, Nations League back in September, and there's also the potential of the Reggae Boys qualifying for the 2026 World Cup, right? So I'm gonna bring this across screen. And this is really important because it goes back to our conversation surrounding football and crime, right? So let me just bring it up on screen. For some reason, it's not coming up. Boom. You see it on screen? No, view tab. But yeah, so back in, what was the last World Cup? 2022?
Yeah.
Yeah, the last World Cup was in 2022, right? And then you had 2018, you also had 2014, and then you had 2010, whatever the case is, right? Now, you know that in Jamaica, right? In Jamaica, I think currently, the last time I checked, or what I checked today, I don't know if the number is real, but I think they said like Jamaica is like, I think that 300 and some, the murder rate is at like 300 and something people have been murdered since here. I believe it is. I don't know if that number is correct because I don't think the JCF updates their website every day or whatever the case is, right? But listen, what this statistic is showing, right? It shows where the 2018 World Cup between June 10th to July 15th, how many murders were in Jamaica, right? And shootings. And then it shows 1 year before and 1 year after the World Cup, right? Also for 2014. So for this article, the headline is World Cup crime relief. I'm not going to really get into the article itself, but I want to look at the statistics surrounding when major sporting events, especially the World Cup is being held. Now, remember, Jamaica since 1998 we have not participated in a World Cup, right? Not even an Olympics or whatever the case is. Isn't me? So look at the statistic, right? So in the year of 2016, let's look at 2016. 2016, 2017, 2018. Okay, let's look at it that way. So the World Cup was in 2018, right? In 2016, from June 10th to July 15th, 130 murders, right? And 105 shootings were recorded. In 2017, between or in that same time period, June 10th through to July 15th, 157 murders, 156 shootings was recorded. Now, in the year of the World Cup 2018, June 10th through to July 15th, 105 murders and 90 shootings, right? So what you see is that whenever there's a World Cup being held, you normally find where in Jamaica that in that time period, there are not a lot of shootings as well as murders. You know what I'm saying? Because it shows in 2016 and 17 when no major sporting events were being held, there was an increase in murders and shootings. And it shows that in that time period when the World Cup was being held, 105 murders and 90 shootings. And let's take a look at the stats for 2014. So this one shows after the World Cup and before the World Cup. So before the World Cup, June 10th through to July 15th, 116 murders, 134 shootings. In the year of the World Cup for 2014, July 10th through to July 15th, 87 murders and 124 shootings. So that's a massive decline, right? And in the year after the World Cup, June 10th through to July 15th, 132 murders and 141 shootings. And you and I know that when World Cup time come, who Jamaican support the most? Argentina and Brazil. And it's like the countries almost united. Now, imagine if Jamaica was playing in a World Cup, right? Back in these time periods. You could imagine that the murder rate or shootings would be like, what, 90 or even less than that? You know what I'm saying? So my question to you, Decanio, is with the Copa America coming around, right? We're in the group with Mexico, Venezuela, and Ecuador, as well as we have the potential of qualifying for the 2026 World Cup. Also, we have the World Cup qualifiers to play through to get to that World Cup, and we have Nations League in September, etc., etc. Do you think, if this Jamaican team, the Reggae Boys, you think if they're on a high in terms of everything is positive, beating up teams, whatever the case is, do you think that could help in unifying Jamaica and we see a little decrease in murders as well as shootings based on the statistics on screen?
Well, based on the statistics on screen, I don't think it has I don't think I want to use that. It has a very small sample size for my liking. I'm looking there at World Cup 2014. That had 124 shootings, and that's more than 2016 that had no World Cup, right? Yes, the murders were lower, but at the end of the day, if them shot the canic, them extra shot the canic is another life that lost. So I'm not read too deep into that, but what I will do, I don't think the World Cup has that huge of an influence. Maybe it does have a small, but the huger influence is like, for me, like Shelly and Fraser competition keep our toes every year, right? And it keep around the end of the year time, closer to Christmas, them part of the year. You see me? And anytime Shelly and Fraser competition are going in the area, there's always a sense of, boy, him and them for easy themselves. Easy for shooting, easy for that because Shelly keep our competition, want for respect her. She had something good for the community. So, put everything on pause until after the competition finish. You see me? Big man, bro, more or less see all bad man are playing in a competition. See me? So, stuff like that really can help. And if you have more competitions like that, not just football, but sports in general, across the entirety of the year, maybe something like that could help. But me now would have to see a bigger sample size for than of the World Cup per se. The World Cup has an impact on Jamaica, the shootings and the murders. Maybe
But
for other
why
countries.
is it a small sample size though? Why? Because if you look, right, let me just kick off this ad. If you look, 2014, the year of the World Cup, 87 murders, 124 shootings. 2013, 116 murders, and 2015, 132 murders in the same time period. It has to have something. It plays an effect in terms of the decrease in murders and shootings
For
in
me,
the World Cup year.
what's screwing with those numbers is the shootings in the 2014 World Cup. The shootings in the 2014 World Cup is at 124, and in 2016, just 2 years after, it's at 105. That's way in 2016 I had way less shootings, but more murders. So what that suggests to me is just that more shot connect. Them did more accurate. But that no means say it crime. No big man thing. That no means say crime stop. That no means say crime stop during a World Cup period. That no means say it's just that it's just a coincidence, bro, that them did just less accurate during the World Cup period. But I don't think the World Cup itself had anything to do. I would be looking more at the shootings and the murders. You see me? Because it only take one shot for connect for turning a murder. You see me? So that's the reason why I say the numbers kind of a bit screwed. I'm not really made too deep into it unless there was a huge sample size. Like, say, how much years the World Cup I play for now? 30? No, I lie. I'm fooling, man. I can't.
No, more than that one. More than that.
1932. So that almost a century. You see me?
But what I will say, I've been doing some research, right? And the research shows that if you look at countries like El Salvador and a lot of these South American countries, when the World Cup is being held, there's a decrease in violent crimes, which is murder.
Yeah, I agree with that because those are other countries. And them country they eat, sleep, breathe, everything of football. Brazil, them country they, bro, them man they will kill over the sport. But Jamaica is not that type of when you go so much at Jamaica, bro, you will see a 100-yard fan and a Waterhouse fan and sit down side by side. And it's just friendly banter. You see them, even when we go match one day, they all let them sit down side by side, like them friendly banter. Yeah, them a cuss one another, but any idea, no war now go on over the match day. If a man say a next man's side no good, it now cause a physical altercation. But at them country, they, bro, football is them life. Then we kill a man over that sport. So for those countries, me would take a sample size like that and really look into it. But for Jamaica, bro, I go to football matches in Jamaica and the rivalry is not that thick. And not the bloods aren't boiling over football matches in Jamaica, bro. Maybe it used to be back then, but for now in 2024, you barely even see people are fling back up on field no more, dog. You see me? So for me,
I mean, I think you can show your passion without being an animal.
yeah, but
with all due respect, a lot of those South American fans do behave like animals, and
exactly, and that's why
disgusting.
they behave like animals because that's their life. For us, football is not our life. If Jamaica lose a football match tomorrow, yeah, we might upset, but we not prefer kill a player. Look at what them do. The Colombian player after miss a penalty. You think that's not happen to a Jamaican player at the World Cup? If you miss a penalty, you could have get we around a 16. Up here would have vexed, but nobody now kill a man. Nobody look what them do. Luis Diaz's father.
Mm-hmm.
Liam Bailey come here. None of Liam Bailey parents him now get trouble. None of Liam Bailey people him now get trouble. Craig Butler walk grandstand where anybody can go. Cause from here 5 grand you can go in a grandstand. And the ball of them walk grandstand freely. Whenever them come, them you see me. So bro, it's different. It's a completely different scenario in Jamaica. Them country, you can really look into those stats. The smallest sample size and the smallest shift you see, you can factor that in. But for Jamaica, bro, for me, when we see the shootings higher, in a year where we work on never keep, but just for me, it's a matter of the shot just need connect, bro.
But listen, people, we've come to the end of it. The topics that we discussed was basically should women lead sports in Jamaica? Some folks might think it's controversial. However, I don't think it's controversial. I think it's a fair enough question. Throughout my lifetime, I've always seen Olivia Babsy Grange and Natalie Ninta Headley as the sports minister. And to be honest, they've done nothing for sports in general, as well as football, right? I don't think they've done a good enough job. I don't think the government as well, whoever is in power at the time, they've done enough in terms of allocating funds. Or whenever they have the budget debate and they allocate the budget, whatever the case is, I don't think the money is enough. In 2022, it was 696 million, which I don't think it's enough for so many sporting disciplines, especially to trickle back into football. I don't think they hold people responsible for the stuff that's happening in terms of the development of football in Jamaica. I think if you look at the JFF, for example, right? I know that the government really can get involved in the JFF and whatever is going on there. But I think if the government was a bit more, if they were a bit more, what's the word now? If the JLP or PNP, whoever is in power, if they hold themselves to a higher standard, right? You see, leadership for me it starts with the government. You see, if the government shows good leadership qualities, I think everyone else in the country follow. I think everyone else in the country follow to a certain extent. And I think that would be the case for JFF as well as many other organizations across Jamaica. But because the government is supposed to lead the country, because they lack in leadership qualities, you have JFF and people in different sporting organizations who also show the lack of leadership, right? So I think if the government can, lead a bit more where the people can follow, I think sporting bodies in Jamaica would do a better job in terms of how they handle certain situations. We saw the situation with Leon Bailey, the reggae girls, as well as the reggae boys a couple of years ago where, they weren't being paid, whatever the case is. And back in those times when players weren't coming from England, whatever the case is, a lot of these players who came from the local Premier League, remember, say them not make much money, so the little $1,000 them are going to make from them local much, It the more that for them than what the JPL are pay them, you get me, I say, or the respective clubs in JPL. So the fact that JFF and some of these people couldn't find money to pay them people, it's total BS, bro. You have to pay people. At the end of the day, big up to Ryan, LFC. Ryan always say, Ricketts and them people get paid at the end of the month. But the player them not get paid. Is it me say, not because I'm going to make 100,000 a week or 50 grand a week means say him not to get paid. No, if you owe me money, you pay me money. I come and represent you. And people like to talk about national pride. Yeah, national pride can't pay light bill. You get me? I say, you can't go JPS and say, me play for Jamaica, and me can use this as currency to pay my light bill. You can't go supermarket and say, someone 2 bread and butter, do I want to buy 2 canned beef and 2 chicken back. You can't say that. You can't go and say, me represent Jamaica and I'm going to use this to pay my way through life. No, players have to be paid in respective sporting disciplines. So I think a lot more can be done from the sporting minister or the sports minister, which is Olivia Babsy Grange. I mean, she's 78 now. I mean, she has nothing left to give to the sport or to sports, I should say, right? Especially football. And, I just think she's done a poor job over the years, to be fair. So the question is, should women lead sports in Jamaica? I know that the men aren't really any better, but I think they would be better than the women to be exact. As well as, talked about crime, football and crime, because in my opinion, I think it goes hand in hand. But that was all for today, people. Not much going on in terms of football surrounding the reggae boys. We have the Copa America coming up, the World Cup qualifiers coming up as well. So we're going to talk about some more football in the coming weeks. Join us again next week, Friday, or this upcoming Friday, I should say. Hope everyone has a wonderful Sunday and a wonderful week as well. Stay safe. Until next time.